The Hidden Power of Your Dark Side, Carl Jung's Theory of Archetypes. Hello to everyone, I really hope you have had a wonderful week so far. Let's skip the small talk for a moment and get down to the issues of the day, which is guaranteed to brighten up your day even more. Carl Jung popularized the concept of the shadow, a part of our identity banished to the unconscious. Jung is credited for popularizing the concept of the shadow, yet humans have always possessed this component. Robert Louis Stevenson developed Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde before Jung. In his story, Dr. Jekyll represents a person's respectable side, but when he becomes Mr. Hyde, his dark side takes over and wrecks his life. Although shadows are intrinsic to humans, most of us ignore them. We hide our flaws from ourselves and others. To avoid focusing on our own flaws and destructive inclinations, we criticize and condemn others. We go through life believing that while others are wicked and destructive, we are good and always correct. Our evolution has shaped some of our shadows. Like all animals, we repress our sex and aggression instincts to fit social mores. Our upbringing shapes more of our shadow. We repress personality traits and impulses that cause our parents or teachers fear or anxiety so they wouldn't punish or criticize us. We put up psychological defenses to repress them into the unconscious. As all humans have a shadow, our level of awareness of it differentiates us. Our shadow causes havoc when it's unconscious. Repressed contents don't simply disappear, they function without our awareness. The shadow can override our conscious ego and control our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. When this happens, we can unconsciously drive ourselves into hard times, believing they were the results of bad luck or fate. Because of the power our shadow has over us, many people engage in self-destructive behaviors despite their conscious knowledge that doing so is harmful to their health and well-being. The war that rages within many addicts is caused by their inner demons, which is why they are driven to use. In the blink of an eye, they promise themselves they will kick their habit and live a sober life, but as soon as they do, their unconscious ego takes over and they are eagerly seeking to the next drink, hit, or sexual release. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson argues that man is in fact two people, a self-aware self and an unconscious self, both of which compete for dominance in the human mind. If we want to avoid being a victim of shadow possession, we must become aware of our shadow qualities and integrate them into our conscious personality, accepting them not as abhorrent aspects of ourselves, but as essential and vital parts of our being. To this end, it's helpful to remember that the goal of life isn't perfections, but wholeness. We must integrate our shadow into our conscious self in order to achieve wholeness in personality development, because wholeness includes both good and bad. That the shadow contains not only destructive aspects of the personality but also potent, creative, and powerful abilities is particularly intriguing. It's a paradox. Throughout our childhood, our family, friends, and teachers scolded us for having certain traits and impulses, not out of love, but out of envy, fear, ignorance, or jealousy. We suppress our innate talents, abilities, and impulses, which could have made us more effective in the world if we had developed and nurtured them. Psychologists are increasingly diagnosing people who question authorities and exhibit signs of extreme self-reliance as anti-authoritarian, which they refer to as a pathological condition. Many people see people who are overly self-reliant in our increasingly communal and dependent society as a danger. They are attacked and ridiculed by the herd because they are lone wolves in a sea of sheep. This is just one of many examples of how our modernizations into society inhibits our growth. With our highest energies trapped and labeled as negative by others and our conscious egos, our growth can be stifled and life can become a wasteland. Our personal growth requires that we become more self-aware and open to the possibility that we are not as good-natured, righteous, or ethical as we believe we are. We must consider the possibility that our behavior may be influenced by aspects of ourselves that are unseen. Our conscious ego is not always in control, but is frequently overtaken by the power of our shadow. We must look down into our depths and realize this. It is up to us to honor and integrate these darker aspects of ourselves once we become more aware of them. If this isn't done, you'll be more shaky and disorganized. One's strength and energy will be wasted if it tries to serve to competing inner desires. The shadow must be integrated into one's self-awareness. If you enjoyed viewing the video, we would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to it by clicking the button labeled subscribe. Make sure the notification button is activated so that you are kept abreast of all of the newest videos that we upload. We would appreciate it if you would use the comment box to share your reactions to the video with us, as we would be interested in hearing them as well.